Hey everybody, it's Michael again with 4G Woodcrafts. I just wanted to go over my enclosure for my CNC machine today, just show you some of the features I came up with and generally how I built the enclosure. So there was a shelf here already that I had my previous CNC on. I took that enclosure apart and I built a new one. I used all MDF for the sides and put sound foam inside. I reused this plexiglass for the cover, put a handle on here, and there's a long hinge across the whole thing at the top. I'll show you in just a minute. Alright, so pull this up and the whole front of the machine, or of the enclosure for the machine, lifts up, right? And so then it gives me full access to everything I need in here. So for my vacuum hose, what I did is I drilled a hole in here and put an adapter in so I can just put my hose to my dust collection system. It plugs in right here in the bottom, and then I have an adapter for the top that goes right into there. So the hose is up here with, I have a bracket over here holding it, and I've got a bungee cord holding it up right here. And it took me some playing around with it to make sure I get it the right way for everything to get full movement out of the machine. So I put the sound foam in here. I have two LED under cabinet lights in here. All wired to some switches over here that is runs to plugs that are under the machine. So everything's plugged in under the machine. I've got a drag chain on top of the gantry and a drag chain over on this side. And the hose is just a Wood River hose that fit the adapter, the dust shoe I have, which has a couple of different attachments for it. One of the things I wanted to show you is an XY stop that I made. I just came up with the idea. I haven't seen it anywhere, but it just gave me a good idea of how to always get the same XY0 position. So what I did is I took a piece of MDF and I screwed it down to the spoil board. And then I made a tool path to cut it along the X and Y axis with a circle here. And so what that allows me to do is I screwed it down before I cut it. And when I cut it, that gives me perfect lines with the axis on the machine. And so what that lets me do is every time I put a piece in here, I'll set the 0 for the bottom right. And I put it against here, clamp it down, and I've got a perfect Z position every time. Correct. And I've got a perfect XY position. And I've got the touch plate with the USB connector there that I use to set the Z axis, the Z0. Alright, so over here you have the light switches. This powers a power strip I have underneath. This powers the lights. This powers the controller. And then this powers the actual router. And all I did was go straight through the 2x4s over to plugs that are under here. So it goes straight through the 2x4s and wired in the plugs over there. I have my drag chain over here that has my router power cord and all the shielded cables for the switches and stepper motors. Those go over here and through a dust plate I built over here. And on the outside, they come through there and then into the bottom of the control box. Which the control box, I drilled holes in the front of it just for ventilation. I actually used the CNC to drill the holes in it. And this is where I hang my USB Z plate, stop plate. Like I said, I've just got one long hinge across the entire top, which holds the weight pretty good. It is a little heavy, but it does open the entire front of it, so I get full access to the machine. One thing I mentioned in my last video is to get to the side or back of the CNC machine, I wanted to have this removable, and I do. So it slides out like this, completely removable, and then I have full access to get to anything I need to over here. And it just lines up in the slots. Push it back in. And then close the front of it. And I can turn on the machine. And everything works pretty good. Alright, so that's my CNC enclosure. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything you saw in this video. I will include links to everything I bought on Amazon, anything I find at Home Depot that I bought to do the build. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.